art of becoming irreplaceable. One of the deepest fears hidden inside every human being is the fear of being forgotten. The fear that after years of effort, sacrifice, and struggle, life could continue without noticing that you were ever there. A position can be filled, a company can continue, a title can be given to someone else. A role you spent years building can eventually belong to another person. This is one of the uncomfortable truths of life. Most things can be replaced. But throughout history, there have been rare individuals whose absence created a different feeling. Not because they were impossible to replace as human beings. No human being is beyond replacement. But because their contribution was rare, their thinking was unique, their character was exceptional, their work changed something. They became people whose presence created value that was difficult to duplicate. They became irreplaceable. The question is not, how do I make people notice me? The deeper question is, how do I become someone whose contribution cannot be ignored? Because recognition is not the beginning of value. It is the result of value. A child may dream of becoming famous. A young person may dream of becoming powerful. An adult may dream of becoming successful. But eventually, every person faces a deeper question. What makes a life truly valuable? Is it money? Is it status? Is it popularity? Is it the number of people who know your name? Or is it something deeper? Something that remains even after attention disappears. Throughout history, some people became symbols because they created something beyond themselves. Leonardo da Vinci was not remembered only because he painted. Many artists existed during his lifetime. He became unforgettable because he connected worlds that others kept separate. Art, science, engineering, human observation. His mind crossed boundaries. He saw relationships between things that others could not see. His value came from a rare combination of curiosity, knowledge, and creativity. Albert Einstein was not remembered simply because he knew physics. Many scientists possessed knowledge. His difference was his ability to question what others accepted. He challenged assumptions about reality. He changed humanity's understanding of time, space, and the universe. His contribution was not information. It was perspective. Nelson Mandela was not remembered simply because he held political power. Many people have held positions of authority. His legacy came from something deeper, the ability to endure suffering without losing purpose, the ability to choose reconciliation over revenge, the ability to represent something greater than himself. These examples reveal one powerful truth. The world does not remember people because they demanded importance. It remembers people because they created value. But modern society often teaches the opposite. People are encouraged to chase attention before ability, recognition before mastery, appearance before substance. They ask, how can I make people see my worth? But exceptional people ask, how can I become worthy of being recognized? This difference changes everything. The person searching for attention focuses on being seen. The person building value focuses on becoming better. One seeks approval. The other develops excellence. One depends on external validation. The other builds internal strength. The journey to becoming irreplaceable begins with accepting an uncomfortable reality. Nobody owes you importance. The world does not reward potential. It rewards developed ability. A person may have talent but never develop it. A person may have intelligence but never apply it. A person may have opportunities but never prepare for them. Potential is only a possibility. Mastery is proof. Becoming irreplaceable is not about becoming famous. Fame is temporary. Trends disappear. Attention moves quickly. A person can be known by millions and still create little meaningful impact. Another person can be unknown to the world yet completely transform the lives around them. A great parent, a great teacher, a great engineer, a great builder, a great leader. Their value is not always measured by how many people know their name. It is measured by how much better things become because they existed. The path toward becoming irreplaceable requires several transformations. You must move from consuming to creating, from seeking approval to building ability, from avoiding problems to solving them, from protecting comfort to pursuing growth, from asking what you can receive to asking what you can contribute. Because the highest level of value is not making people dependent on you. That is fragile power. The highest level is becoming someone who improves every environment they enter. Someone whose knowledge makes others stronger. Someone whose leadership creates more leaders. Someone whose work continues even when they are no longer present. The greatest people in history understood this. They did not spend their lives asking, how can I prove I matter? They spent their lives answering, what can I build that matters? The journey ahead will explore the hidden laws behind becoming irreplaceable. Why rare skills create value, why discipline defeats talent, why combining abilities creates uniqueness, why focus has become a superpower, why reputation becomes invisible wealth, why character determines whether success survives, why problem solvers become valuable, why comfort destroys greatness, why purpose transforms success into legacy. Because at the end of life, every person leaves behind two things: the life they lived and the impact they created. The first eventually ends, the second can continue. This is the art of becoming irreplaceable, not becoming someone nobody can replace, but becoming someone whose contribution would be deeply missed because the world became better through their existence. The journey begins now. Chapter 1. The Brutal Truth. Everyone is replaceable. There is a truth that many people spend their entire lives trying to avoid, a truth that can feel uncomfortable, a truth that challenges the way people see themselves. And that truth is this: everyone can be replaced. A job can be replaced. A position can be replaced. A title can be replaced. A business can continue after its founder leaves. A team can continue after its greatest player retires. A country can continue after its greatest leader is gone. The world has a remarkable ability to adapt, and accepting this reality is not a sign of weakness. It is the beginning of wisdom. Because before a person can become irreplaceable, they must first understand why they are replaceable. The person who refuses to accept this truth often becomes trapped. They believe, I have been here for many years, therefore I am valuable. I have this title, therefore I am important. I have experience, therefore nobody can replace me. But time alone does not create value. A position alone does not create importance. A title alone does not create significance. The world does not measure people only by where they stand. It measures them by what changes because they were there. Two people can occupy the same position and create completely different levels of value. One person performs tasks. Another person creates improvements. One person waits for instructions. Another person finds solutions. One person protects their comfort. Another person pushes the entire system forward. The difference is not the position. The difference is contribution. Imagine two employees working in the same organization. They have the same job title. They have similar responsibilities. They even receive similar rewards. But their mindset is completely different. The first person asks, what exactly am I required to do? They complete the assignment. They follow the process. They avoid unnecessary responsibility. When they leave, someone else can quickly learn the role and continue. The second person asks different questions. Why does this process exist? How can this system become better? How can mistakes be reduced? How can people work more effectively? They do not simply perform a task. They improve the environment around them. When they leave, their absence is felt, not because they held a title, but because they created value. This is the difference between occupying a position and becoming valuable. A position belongs to an organization. A contribution belongs to the person. A company can give you a title, but only you can build a reputation. A company can give you responsibilities, but only you can develop mastery. A company can give you a role, but only you can create lasting impact. Management thinker Peter Drucker emphasized that effective people focus on contribution. The important question is not, what activities am I performing? The deeper question is, what results am I creating? This question separates ordinary performance from exceptional performance, because activity can be replaced. But meaningful results are valuable. Throughout history, many people have confused power with value. They believe their importance comes from their position. But history shows something different. Kings lose kingdoms. Executives leave companies. Famous athletes retire. Political leaders lose elections. The position disappears, but the contribution can remain. Think about a great teacher. The classroom may continue without them. Another teacher may take their place. But the students they inspired carry their influence for decades. Think about a great engineer. Another person may eventually fill their role, but the systems they created continue serving people. Think about a great parent. The years pass, the children grow, but the values they taught continue through generations. True value is not about making yourself impossible to replace. That is a misunderstanding. Some people try to become irreplaceable by creating dependence. They hide knowledge. They refuse to teach others. They make themselves the only person who understands the system. This may create temporary importance, but it is not greatness. It is insecurity. The highest form of value is different. A truly valuable person creates something that survives beyond them. They share knowledge. They build systems. They develop people. They improve everything around them. Their influence grows because they multiply value. This principle can be seen throughout history. The greatest leaders did not create followers who could do nothing without them. They created people who could continue the mission. The greatest teachers did not create students who depended on them forever. They created thinkers. The greatest builders did not create structures that collapsed without them. They created foundations that lasted. The first enemy of becoming irreplaceable is the belief that your current position defines you. It does not. Your position is temporary. Your skills are portable. Your character travels with you. Your ability to solve problems follows you wherever you go. This is why wise people never build their entire identity around external things. They do not say, I am valuable because of my job. They say, I am valuable because of what I can create. The replaceable person asks, what do I get? The valuable person asks, what can I contribute? The replaceable person asks, how can I protect my position? The valuable person asks, how can I improve my ability? The replaceable person fears change. The valuable person prepares for change. The ancient philosopher Aristotle believed that excellence is not a single action. It is a habit. A person does not become exceptional through one great decision. They become exceptional through thousands of repeated choices. Choosing discipline, choosing learning, choosing responsibility, choosing improvement again and again. The journey toward becoming irreplaceable begins with a simple transformation. Stop asking, why don't people recognize my value? Start asking, what value am I creating? Because the world rarely rewards what people believe they deserve. It rewards what they have developed. So ask yourself, if you disappeared from your current environment tomorrow, what knowledge would be missing? What problems would become harder? What systems would struggle? What difference would your absence create? These questions are not meant to create fear. They are meant to reveal opportunities for growth. The goal is not to become irreplaceable because nobody else can perform your role. The goal is to become irreplaceable because your contribution is rare, because your thinking improves decisions, because your skills solve difficult problems, because your character creates trust, because your presence makes things better. The first lesson of becoming irreplaceable is simple. Accept that everyone can be replaced. Then use that truth as motivation. Build yourself. Develop your abilities. Create value. Because while everyone can be replaced in position, not everyone can be replaced in impact. And that is where true value begins. Chapter 2. The Law of Scarcity. Why rare people become valuable. There is a law that quietly influences almost everything in human life. A law that determines why some things become valuable while others become ordinary. That law is what is common becomes replaceable. What is rare becomes valuable. Think about gold. Gold is not valuable because it is useful for everyday survival. People do not build houses with it. People do not eat it. People do not depend on it for basic needs. Its value comes from something deeper. It is rare. It is difficult to obtain. It is limited. And because it is limited, people value it. Human ability follows a similar pattern. A skill that millions of people possess becomes ordinary. A skill that few people can develop becomes valuable. This is why becoming irreplaceable requires more than simply working hard. Many people work hard. Many people sacrifice. Many people spend years gaining experience. But effort alone does not automatically create uniqueness. The question is, what have you developed that is difficult to find? The world is full of people who can perform basic tasks. There are millions who can follow instructions, millions who can repeat information, millions who can perform predictable activities. These abilities have value, but because many people possess them, replacement is easier. The person who becomes valuable moves beyond ordinary ability. They develop qualities that are uncommon. They become the person who can solve problems others cannot solve. Understand things others overlook. Create solutions others cannot create. Lead when others become uncertain. Think clearly when others are confused. This is the law of scarcity applied to human potential. The world does not only reward what you can do, it rewards what you can do that few others can. Psychologist Robert Cialdini studied the influence of scarcity on human decisions. His research showed that people often place greater value on things that are limited or difficult to obtain. A rare opportunity feels more valuable, a limited resource feels more desirable, a unique experience feels more memorable. The same principle applies to human beings. A person with common abilities competes in crowded spaces. A person with rare abilities creates new opportunities. Imagine two people. The first person has basic knowledge, basic communication skills, basic problem-solving ability. They can contribute, but many others can do similar work. The second person develops deep expertise, strong communication, creative thinking, leadership ability, emotional intelligence, the ability to solve complex problems. Their combination is uncommon. They become harder to replace. This does not mean one person is more valuable as a human being than another. Every person has dignity. The difference is not human worth. The difference is developed capability. The world values rare contributions. The problem with following the crowd, most people naturally move toward what everyone else is doing. They choose the same paths. They develop the same basic skills. They copy the same behaviors. But crowded paths create crowded competition. When everyone looks the same, standing out becomes difficult. The rare person asks different questions. Instead of asking, "What is everyone doing?" they ask, "What valuable ability is missing?" Instead of asking, "How can I compete with everyone?" they ask, "How can I become uncommon?" Leonardo da Vinci and the power of combination. One of history's greatest examples of rarity was Leonardo da Vinci. Many people were artists. Many people studied science. Many people designed machines. But Leonardo combined these worlds. He connected art, science, engineering, human anatomy, observation. His advantage was not one skill. His advantage was the relationship between many skills. This reveals a powerful lesson. Sometimes you do not become valuable by becoming the best person in one category. Sometimes you become valuable by becoming the only person who combines several categories. The skill stack, a modern advantage, comes from building what can be called a skill stack. A skill stack is the combination of different abilities that create a unique profile. For example, a person who understands engineering is valuable. A person who understands data analysis is valuable. A person who understands communication is valuable. But a person who combines engineering, data analysis, communication, leadership, business thinking, creates a much rarer combination. The individual skills may not be extraordinary by themselves, but together, they create something uncommon. That is how many people become irreplaceable. Why difficult problems create rare people. Another way to become rare is by choosing difficult problems. Most people avoid complexity. They search for the easiest path. But difficult problems create opportunities because fewer people are willing to solve them. A person who solves simple problems competes with many others. A person who solves difficult problems becomes valuable. This is why industries, organizations, and communities look for people who can handle challenges. The danger of being rare in the wrong area, however, rarity alone is not enough. A person can become extremely rare at something nobody needs. True value requires two things: rare ability and meaningful contribution. The goal is not simply to become different. The goal is to become different in a way that creates value. How to build rarity first. Develop deep knowledge. Do not remain at the surface. Understand principles, understand systems, understand causes. Second, combine skills. Look for connections between different areas. Your unique advantage may exist where different abilities meet. Third, solve important problems. The world rewards answers. Fourth, develop character. Rare skills without reliability create limited trust. The scarcity formula: irreplaceable value equals rare skills plus important problems solved plus consistent excellence plus trust. The journey of becoming valuable is not about trying to prove you are better than everyone else. It is about developing something meaningful that few people can provide. The average person asks, "How can I fit in?" The exceptional person asks, "How can I become valuable?" The average person asks, "How can I avoid difficulty?" The exceptional person asks, "What difficulty can I master?" Because difficulty creates ability. Ability creates rarity. Rarity creates value. The final lesson is simple. The world does not ignore people because they lack potential. It ignores people whose potential has not yet been transformed into something rare. Develop uncommon skills. Develop uncommon discipline. Develop uncommon character. Because what is common can easily be replaced. What is rare becomes valuable. And the person who becomes rare in a meaningful way becomes someone the world cannot easily ignore. Chapter 3: The Myth of Talent. Why potential is not enough. There is a story that society loves to believe, a story about greatness, a story that makes exceptional people appear almost different from ordinary people. The story is this: great people are simply born great. We look at the athlete holding the championship trophy. We look at the musician performing in front of thousands. We look at the entrepreneur leading a global company. We look at the scientist receiving worldwide recognition, and we see the final result. But we rarely see the invisible years behind the achievement, the failures, the rejection, the sacrifices, the mistakes, the thousands of hours spent improving when nobody was watching. The truth is different. Talent may create potential, but discipline creates mastery. Talent is the beginning. It is not the destination. A person may be naturally gifted. They may learn faster. They may have better instincts. They may possess unusual creativity. But talent without development remains only a possibility. A diamond is valuable because it has been formed under pressure. Raw material alone does not create greatness. It must be shaped. The talent trap. One of the greatest dangers in life is believing talent is enough. A talented person may receive early praise. People tell them, "You are naturally gifted. You are special. You were born for this." At first, this feels powerful, but it can create a hidden weakness. The person begins protecting the image of being talented instead of improving their ability. They avoid challenges. They avoid situations where they might fail. They stop learning. Meanwhile, another person with less natural ability develops something more powerful: discipline, consistency, patience, the willingness to improve. Over time, the disciplined person begins closing the gap. Eventually, they may surpass the person who started ahead. Michael Jordan. The power of development. Michael Jordan is often remembered as one of the greatest basketball players in history. Many people look at his success and see natural ability. But behind the achievements was something deeper, an obsession with improvement. Jordan did not become great because he avoided weakness. He became great because he confronted weakness. Every mistake became information. Every failure became motivation. Every limitation became a challenge to overcome. The lesson is powerful. Great people are not people without weaknesses. They are people who refuse to remain controlled by their weaknesses. Kobe Bryant. The mindset of mastery. Kobe Bryant represented another example of deliberate improvement. His greatness was not only based on physical ability. It came from preparation. He studied his opponents, his movements, his mistakes, the details of the game. He understood something many people never learn. The difference between good and great is often found in small improvements repeated consistently. The science of deliberate practice. Psychologist Anders Ericsson studied how experts develop extraordinary abilities. His research revealed that elite performers do not simply practice more. They practice differently. They deliberately focus on improvement. Deliberate practice requires several things. First, identify your weaknesses. Average people repeat what they already know. Experts focus on what they cannot yet do. Growth begins when you confront the areas where you are incomplete. Second, seek feedback. Improvement requires honesty. A person who cannot accept correction cannot improve. Feedback reveals the difference between where you are and where you need to be. Third, push beyond comfort. Growth happens at the edge of your current ability. If everything is easy, you are not developing. If everything is impossible, you cannot progress. The challenge must be difficult enough to force adaptation. Experience is not the same as mastery. Many people confuse time with improvement. They say, "I have 20 years of experience." But the important question is, did you improve for 20 years, or did you repeat the same year 20 times? Time creates exposure. Practice creates ability. Deliberate improvement creates mastery. The growth mindset psychologist Carol Dweck studied how beliefs about ability influence achievement. She identified two different ways people see themselves. Fixed mindset. A person believes, "My ability is limited." Failure becomes proof that they cannot improve. They avoid difficult challenges because mistakes threaten their identity. Growth mindset: a person believes my ability can be developed. Failure becomes feedback. Mistakes become lessons. Challenges become opportunities. The growth mindset creates a powerful transformation. Instead of asking, am I good enough? The person asks, what can I learn? Why discipline defeats talent. Imagine two people. One begins with natural advantage. They receive praise early. They become comfortable. They stop pushing. The second person begins behind, but they develop discipline. They practice. They learn. They improve every day. Over time, small improvements create a massive difference because discipline compounds. One extra hour of learning, one more attempt, one more correction, one more improvement, one more lesson. Repeated over years, these actions create extraordinary results. The talent trap of easy success: sometimes early success can actually hurt people. When everything comes easily, they may never develop resilience. They never learn how to struggle. They never discover how strong they can become. Difficulty is not always an obstacle. Sometimes difficulty is the training ground where greatness is built. Humility is the foundation of mastery. The greatest performers remain students. They understand there is always more to learn. There is always another level. There is always room to improve. The moment someone believes they have nothing left to learn is often the moment their growth stops. The mastery formula: potential, practice, feedback, improvement, mastery, value. The world does not remember people because they had potential. It remembers people who transformed potential into contribution. Talent is a gift, but mastery is a responsibility. The person who develops their ability until it creates value for others becomes difficult to replace. Because in the end, talent opens the door. Discipline determines how far you go. Chapter 4. The Leonardo Principle. Why combining skills creates uniqueness. In a world where millions of people compete for opportunities, many people ask the same question: how can I become better than everyone else? But this question leads many people into endless competition. A more powerful question is, how can I become different in a valuable way? Because the greatest advantage in the modern world is not always being the best at one thing. Sometimes the greatest advantage is becoming the person who can connect different abilities in a way that few others can. This is the secret behind many extraordinary individuals throughout history. They were not limited by one field. They combined worlds, and through those combinations they created something rare. The limits of traditional thinking: from an early age, society teaches people to choose a single identity. You become a doctor, an engineer, an artist, a scientist, a business person, a teacher, a programmer. Specialization has value. Deep knowledge matters. But the world's greatest challenges rarely exist inside one category. They exist between categories. A medical breakthrough requires science, technology, human understanding, communication. A successful company requires innovation, finance, psychology, leadership. A modern engineering solution requires technical knowledge, data, design thinking, management, problem solving. The people who can connect different areas often see solutions that specialists working alone may miss. Leonardo da Vinci. The master of connection. Leonardo da Vinci represents one of the greatest examples of this principle. Most people know Leonardo as a painter, but painting was only one part of his genius. He studied anatomy, engineering, architecture, mathematics, physics, nature, human movement. What made Leonardo exceptional was not simply that he knew many things. It was that he connected them. He studied the human body to improve his art. He studied nature to understand design. He studied movement to imagine machines. His creativity came from the relationship between different fields. The lesson is powerful. Innovation often happens when ideas from different worlds meet. The skill stack advantage. A powerful concept in personal development is the idea of a skill stack. A skill stack means combining several useful abilities to create a unique profile. You do not always need to be the greatest person in the world at one skill. You can become extremely valuable by combining several valuable skills. Imagine three people. The first person is an excellent engineer. The second person is an excellent communicator. The third person understands engineering, communication, data analysis, leadership, business thinking. The third person may not be the best engineer. They may not be the best communicator, but their combination makes them rare. This is how many people become difficult to replace. Not because they know everything, but because they bring together abilities that are rarely found in one person. Steve Jobs, where technology meets humanity. Steve Jobs provides another example. Jobs was not the world's greatest programmer. He was not the world's greatest engineer. His unique advantage came from combining different perspectives. He connected technology, design, psychology, storytelling, human experience. He understood something important. People do not only use products, they experience them. Technology is not only about what a machine can do, it is also about how humans interact with it. This combination of technical thinking and human understanding created enormous value. The T-shaped person. A useful model for modern success is the idea of the T-shaped person. The vertical line represents deep expertise, one area where you develop serious mastery, a foundation, a profession, a core ability. The horizontal line represents broad understanding, knowledge of related areas, communication, technology, leadership, psychology, business, creativity. The combination creates flexibility. You become someone who understands your field deeply, but can also connect it with the bigger world. Why single-skill thinking can become dangerous. Specialization is valuable. The world needs experts, but a person with only one narrow ability can become vulnerable when circumstances change. Technology changes industries. New methods replace old ones. New problems require new solutions. A person who only knows one way may struggle. A person who understands connections can adapt. The power of cross-disciplinary thinking. Many of humanity's greatest inventions came from combining existing ideas. The smartphone combine a telephone, a computer, a camera, the internet, entertainment, communication. The electric vehicle combines engineering, software, energy systems, transportation, artificial intelligence. The future belongs to people who can connect knowledge. Building your own unique combination. You do not need to become Leonardo da Vinci. The lesson is not to learn everything. The lesson is to build a valuable combination. Step 1. Develop a foundation skill. Choose an area where you want deep expertise. Master the fundamentals. Step 2. Add supporting skills. Ask, what skills would make my main ability more powerful? An engineer can learn programming. A doctor can learn communication. A teacher can learn technology. A business person can learn psychology. Step 3. Connect the skills. The greatest advantage appears when your abilities interact. Your combination becomes your identity. Your life experience is part of your advantage. There is something nobody else can copy. Your personal journey, your experiences, your challenges, your observations, your interests, your perspective. Two people can study the same subject and still see the world differently. That difference can become a source of value. The danger of copying others. Many people try to copy successful people. They copy their habits, their appearance, their strategies, but copies compete. Original combinations create uniqueness. Study great people, learn their principles, but combine those lessons with your own strengths and experiences. The Leonardo formula. Irreplaceable value equals deep expertise, supporting skills, unique perspective, ability to connect ideas. The world does not only reward people who know more, it rewards people who see connections others miss. The person who combines knowledge creates possibilities. The person who creates possibilities becomes valuable. The final lesson is simple. Do not spend your life trying to become a copy of someone else. Discover your unique combination, develop it, strengthen it, master it. Because your greatest advantage may not be one extraordinary ability. It may be the rare combination of abilities that only you can bring together. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. Chapter 5. The Deep Work Advantage. Why focus has become the rarest skill in the modern world. There is a resource more valuable than money, more valuable than possessions, more valuable than information. That resource is attention, because what controls your attention controls your future. We live in a time unlike any other period in human history. Knowledge is everywhere. A person with a phone can access millions of books, courses from the world's greatest universities, scientific research, expert opinions, tools that previous generations could only dream about. The problem today is not a lack of information. The problem is the inability to focus long enough to transform information into something valuable. The modern world has created a strange situation. Everyone has access to knowledge, but very few people can concentrate deeply enough to master it. Everyone can start projects. Few people can finish them. Everyone can consume information. Few people can create something meaningful from it. This is why focus has become one of the rarest skills in the world, and anything rare becomes valuable. The attention economy every day, countless forces compete for your mind. Notifications, social media, entertainment, advertising, endless streams of information. Technology has created a world where distraction is easier than concentration. A person can spend hours looking at information without producing anything meaningful. They feel busy, but they are not necessarily creating value. The ability to focus has become a competitive advantage. A person who can control their attention can learn faster, think deeper, solve harder problems, create better work, develop valuable skills. Cal Newport and deep work computer science professor and author Deep Work introduced the concept of deep work. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a demanding task that creates meaningful results. It is the opposite of shallow activity. Shallow work keeps you occupied. Deep work transforms you. A person doing shallow work may spend an entire day answering messages, checking updates, moving between tasks, reacting to other people's priorities. At the end of the day, they may feel exhausted. But what did they actually create? A person practicing deep work may spend 2 or 3 focused hours solving a difficult problem. They may create a new idea, a better system, a valuable solution, a piece of work that changes something. The difference is not the amount of time spent. The difference is the quality of attention. Busy is not the same as valuable. Modern society often rewards visible activity. People admire someone who is always busy, always responding, always moving. But movement is not always progress. A person can run in circles and still remain in the same place. The valuable question is not, how busy am I? The valuable question is, what meaningful results am I producing? The greatest creators in history understood this. They protected their attention. They created space for deep thinking. They allowed themselves time to explore difficult questions. Albert Einstein and deep thinking. Albert Einstein did not transform physics because he had access to more information than everyone else. His advantage was his ability to think deeply about fundamental questions. He spent years exploring ideas that others overlooked. He questioned assumptions. He imagined possibilities. He focused. Great ideas rarely appear in a distracted mind. They require patience. They require reflection. They require concentration. Leonardo da Vinci and observation. Leonardo da Vinci demonstrated another form of deep attention. He observed the world intensely. He studied human movement, nature, machines, light, the human body. His creativity came from noticing details that others ignored. He saw connections because he paid attention. Why focus creates mastery. Previous chapters showed that mastery creates value. But mastery requires development. Development requires practice. Practice requires focus. The chain is simple. Attention, practice, skill, mastery, value. Without attention, mastery become possible. The distraction cost. Many people think distraction only wastes time. But the damage is deeper. Constant distraction reduces creativity, memory, patience, problem-solving ability, the ability to think independently. A distracted mind becomes reactive. A focused mind becomes creative. Deep work in the age of artificial intelligence. The rise of artificial intelligence is changing the world. Many routine tasks are becoming easier to automate. Machines can increasingly perform repetitive calculations, information processing, pattern recognition, predictable tasks. This creates a new question. What makes humans valuable? The answer is not simply having information. Machines can access and process information. The human advantage comes from judgment, creativity, strategy, leadership, understanding people, creating meaning. These abilities require deep thought. How to build the ability to focus. Focus is not something only a few people possess. It is a skill. It can be trained. Protect your attention. Not everything deserves access to your mind. Choose carefully what you allow to influence your thinking. Remove unnecessary distractions. A distracted environment creates a distracted mind. Create spaces where you can think. Work on important problems first. Your best energy should go toward your most valuable tasks. Do not give your strongest hours to meaningless activities. Train gradually. Focus develops like physical strength. Start small. Increase over time. Build the ability, the focus advantage. A person who controls their attention gains a powerful advantage. While others are distracted, they learn, they build, they create, they improve. Over time, this creates separation, not because they are more talented, not because they were born different, but because they invested their attention wisely. The deep work formula exceptional value equals focused attention, deliberate practice time, important problems. The modern world has made distraction normal. That means focus has become extraordinary. The person who masters their attention gains control over their growth, and the person who controls their growth becomes difficult to replace. The final lesson is this: in a distracted world, focus is a superpower. Your attention is the foundation of your skills. Your skills become the foundation of your value, and your value becomes the foundation of your irreplaceability. Chapter 6. The invisible asset. Reputation. Why your name can become your greatest wealth. There is an asset every person carries. An asset that cannot be stored in a bank. An asset that cannot be bought from another person. An asset that does not appear on a financial statement. Yet it can determine the opportunities you receive, the people who trust you, and the responsibilities you are given. That asset is your reputation. Before people experience your ability, they experience your name. Your name creates an expectation. When people hear your name, they unconsciously ask, can this person be trusted? Will they keep their promises? Will they deliver quality? Will they create problems or solve them? Your reputation is the answer that your past actions have created. A person's reputation is not built through words. It is built through evidence. Anyone can say, I am hardworking, I am honest, I am reliable. But people do not judge you by what you claim. They judge you by what you repeatedly demonstrate. Your name is a promise. A powerful reputation turns your name into a promise. When people hear certain names, they immediately associate them with certain qualities. A name can represent excellence, trust, creativity, leadership, integrity, innovation. This is why reputation becomes a form of invisible wealth. A person with a strong reputation does not always need to convince people of their value. Their history speaks before they arrive. Trust, the foundation of human cooperation. Almost everything in society depends on trust. Businesses depend on trust. Relationships depend on trust. Leadership depends on trust. Without trust, every interaction becomes difficult. Every agreement requires more protection. Every opportunity becomes harder to create. Trust reduces uncertainty, and the person who creates trust becomes valuable. Imagine two people with equal technical ability. The first person is talented but misses deadlines, avoids responsibility, makes excuses, breaks promises. The second person has similar skills but keeps their word, admits mistakes, communicates clearly, consistently delivers. Who would you trust with an important opportunity? Most people choose the second person because skill creates possibility, but character creates confidence. Warren Buffett. Reputation as wealth. Warren Buffett has often emphasized the importance of protecting reputation. His philosophy reflects a powerful truth. Financial losses can sometimes be recovered, opportunities can return, but lost trust can be extremely difficult to rebuild. A person can spend years creating a respected name, then destroy it through one careless decision. This is why wise people protect their reputation like an important asset, because it is. Reputation is built slowly. Many people believe reputation comes from one major achievement. Usually it does not. Reputation is created through small actions repeated over time. One promise kept, one problem solved, one responsibility accepted, one person helped, one standard maintained. Small actions create patterns. Patterns create identity. Identity creates reputation. A person becomes known as reliable because they repeatedly show reliability. A person becomes known as excellent because they repeatedly produce excellent work. A person becomes known as trustworthy because they repeatedly choose integrity. The difference between image and reputation. Modern society often confuses these two. Image is what people see. Reputation is what people believe. Image can be created quickly. A person can create an impressive appearance through expensive possessions, carefully chosen words, social media, public performance. But reputation requires time, because reputation is built through experience. Eventually, reality reveals the difference between appearance and character. The halo effect. Psychologists have studied a phenomenon called the halo effect. It explains how one strong positive quality can influence how people view everything else about a person. For example, a person known for honesty is often trusted with responsibility. A A person known for discipline is often respected. A person known for excellence is often given greater opportunities. One powerful quality associated with your name can influence how people see your entire character. This is why protecting your reputation matters. Becoming known for something valuable. The most respected people are usually associated with a clear identity. Albert Einstein became associated with revolutionary thinking. Leonardo da Vinci became associated with creativity and curiosity. Nelson Mandela became associated with courage and reconciliation. Their names became connected to ideas. Their identities became larger than their positions. The question every person should ask is, what do I want my name to represent? Do you want people to associate your name with excuses or solutions, promises broken or promises kept, average work or excellent self-interest or contribution? Every day, through your actions, you are answering this question. Reputation is built when nobody is watching. The strongest reputation is created in private, when there is no applause, no reward, no audience, no immediate benefit. Anyone can act correctly when people are observing. The real test is what you do when nobody will know, because character is what remains when attention disappears. Protecting your reputation. A valuable person understands that reputation is fragile. A single careless action can damage years of trust. This does not mean living in fear. It means understanding consequences. Your choices are constantly building evidence about who you are. Every decision either strengthens or weakens your name. Building an irreplaceable reputation, there are 5 principles. First, become competent. A good reputation requires real ability. Trust without skill cannot last. Second, keep your word. Small promises create large trust. Third, accept responsibility. People trust those who face problems instead of escaping them. Fourth, create value. The most respected people improve the lives around them. Fifth, remain consistent. One great performance creates attention. Consistent excellence creates reputation. The reputation formula. A powerful name equals competence, consistency, character, contribution at the highest level. Your greatest asset is not what you own. It is what people believe they can expect from you. Because a strong reputation creates opportunities before you even ask. The person with a respected name carries invisible wealth. They carry trust. They carry credibility. They carry influence. The final lesson is simple. Your reputation is the shadow of your actions. You cannot build it with words alone. You build it through what you repeatedly do. And when your name becomes associated with value, trust, and excellence, you become someone the world cannot easily replace. Chapter 7. The Character Test. Why Great Skills Fail Without Discipline, Integrity, and Emotional Control. Final 11 Labs Documentary Narration Script. A person can possess extraordinary talent. They can have intelligence. They can have creativity. They can have rare skills. They can even achieve success and still lose everything. Why? Because ability alone is not enough. A person's greatest achievements are built on a foundation that cannot always be seen. That foundation is character. The world often celebrates visible qualities. It celebrates success, confidence, talent, achievements. We see what people accomplish, but we rarely see the invisible qualities that allowed them to sustain those accomplishments. The discipline behind the success, the integrity behind the reputation, the emotional control behind the decisions, the humility behind the continuous learning. Because the truth is, skills can create opportunities. Character determines whether you can keep them. The difference between being capable and being trusted. Imagine 2 people with equal ability. Both are intelligent. Both can solve problems. Both have valuable skills, but one person is unreliable. They miss commitments. They blame others. They become emotional under pressure. They refuse correction. The other person is different. They remain calm. They take responsibility. They keep their promises. They continue learning. Who would you trust with an important responsibility? Most people would choose the second person, because the world does not only need talented people, it needs dependable people. A person who is talented but unreliable becomes a risk. A person who is talented and trustworthy becomes an asset. Discipline, the bridge between goals and results. Many people understand what they want. They know the life they desire. They know the skills they need. They know the changes they should make. But knowledge without action creates no transformation. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. Discipline means doing what must be done even when motivation disappears. continuing when progress is slow, maintaining standards when nobody is watching, choosing long-term success over short-term comfort. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is a system. A person who depends only on motivation will stop when emotions change. A disciplined person continues because their commitment is stronger than their feelings. Cristiano Ronaldo. The standard of self-discipline. Cristiano Ronaldo is often discussed because of his natural ability, but his longevity at the highest level has also been connected to extraordinary discipline. His career demonstrates the importance of preparation, training, physical care, continuous improvement, attention to details. The lesson is bigger than football. Greatness is not only about having ability, it is about protecting and developing that ability every day. Emotional control. The power of mastering yourself. One of the greatest challenges a person faces is not controlling the outside world. It is controlling themselves. A person who cannot control their emotions can be controlled by circumstances. They react to fear, criticism, pressure, failure. Emotional control does not mean becoming emotionless. It means having the ability to experience emotions without allowing them to destroy your judgment. Marcus Aurelius. The Inner Battle. The Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about self-control. One of the central ideas of Stoicism is, you cannot control everything that happens, but you can control your response. This principle remains powerful today. A person who controls their reaction maintains power. A person controlled by every emotion gives power away. Humility. The protection against declined success creates another challenge. Ego. After achieving something, a person may begin believing, I already know enough. I do not need advice. I cannot be wrong. This mindset is dangerous because growth stops when learning stops. The greatest minds in history remained students. They understood, the more you know, the more you realize how much remains unknown. Albert Einstein became one of history's greatest thinkers, yet his curiosity never disappeared. His greatness was not only intelligence, it was the willingness to continue questioning. Integrity. Who you are when nobody is watching. Integrity is the alignment between your values and your actions. It means doing the right thing without needing supervision. Keeping promises even when breaking them would be easier. Taking responsibility when mistakes happen. A person's true character is not revealed when everything is easy. It is revealed during pressure, when nobody would know, when nobody would reward you, when doing the wrong thing appears convenient. Responsibility. The mindset of valuable people. There are two types of people when problems appear. The first asks, who is responsible for this? The second asks, what can I do to improve this? The second person becomes valuable because they focus on solutions. Responsibility does not mean accepting blame for everything. It means refusing to become powerless. Resilience. Turning hardship into strength. Every valuable person experiences difficulty, failure, rejection, uncertainty, loss. The difference is not whether they face challenges. Everyone does. The difference is how they respond. Viktor Frankl showed through his work that meaning gives people the strength to endure suffering. A person with purpose can survive difficulties that would destroy someone without direction. The ego trap. The more successful a person becomes, the more careful they must become. Because success can create the illusion that improvement is no longer necessary. But the moment a person stops learning is often the moment decline begins. The strongest people maintain a beginner's mindset. They remain curious. They remain teachable. They remain willing to improve. Confidence versus arrogance. These two qualities are often confused. Confidence says, I have prepared and I can handle this. Arrogance says, I am already superior, so I do not need to improve. Confidence attracts opportunity. Arrogance destroys it. The character formula. True irreplaceable value equals ability, discipline, integrity, emotional control, humility. The rarest people in the world are not simply talented. They are trusted. They are the people others can depend on when situations become difficult. Because in the end, a skill may make people notice you, but character determines whether they believe in you. A reputation may open a door, but character determines whether you remain welcome inside. The final lesson is this: do not only become someone who can do great things, become someone who can be trusted with great things. Because the person who combines ability with character becomes more than useful. They become valuable. They become dependable. They become difficult to replace. Chapter 8. The problem solver. Why? The world rewards those who create solutions. There is one question that separates ordinary people from exceptional people. A question that changes the way you see your career, your skills, and your purpose. That question is, what problems can I solve? Many people spend their lives asking, how can I get a better position? How can I earn more money? How can I become recognized? How can I become successful? These questions are understandable, but they focus on receiving value. The people who become truly valuable focus on creating value. They ask, what difficulty exists in the world that I can make easier? Because throughout history, the people who changed the world were not simply people who worked hard. They were people who saw problems differently. They noticed what others ignored. They challenged what others accepted. They created solutions where others saw obstacles. The world does not reward effort alone. Hard work matters, discipline matters, persistence matters. But effort by itself is not enough. Two people can work equally hard and create completely different results. One person spends years completing tasks. Another person identifies a problem and creates a solution that improves the lives of millions. The difference is impact. The world does not only ask, how much effort did you put in? It asks, what changed because of your effort? Workers and problem solvers. A worker often asks, what am I supposed to do? A problem solver asks, what needs to improve? A worker follows a process. A problem solver improves the process. A worker completes instructions. A problem solver creates better possibilities. A worker waits for problems to be assigned. A problem solver searches for problems worth solving. Both have value, but the second person becomes harder to replace because they contribute beyond the basic requirements of the role. The size of the problem determines the size of the value. A simple principle explains much of human progress. The greater the problem you can solve, the greater the value you can create. A person who solves a small inconvenience helps a few people. A person who solves a major challenge can transform an entire industry. This is why societies remember inventors, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, leaders, builders. They did not simply exist, they improved something. Henry Ford, solving the problem of accessibility before mass production transformed transportation. Automobiles existed, but cars were expensive and unavailable to many ordinary people. Ford Motor Company changed manufacturing by improving production methods and making vehicles more accessible. The important contribution was not simply building cars. Many people could build cars. The greater achievement was solving a larger problem. How can transportation become available to ordinary people? The lesson is powerful. Great value comes from solving problems that matter to many people. Steve Jobs, solving human experience problems before Steve Jobs transformed technology. Computers already existed. Mobile phones already existed. Digital devices already existed. The challenge was not only creating technology. The challenge was, how can technology become simple, meaningful, and natural for humans? Jobs connected technology, design, psychology, communication. He understood that people do not only buy products, they experience them. Problem solving begins with curiosity. Great problem solvers have a habit. They question what others accept. They ask, why does this system work this way? Why does this problem keep appearing? Why are people experiencing this difficulty? What assumption are we making? Curiosity is the beginning of innovation. A person who stops questioning stops discovering. Albert Einstein. The power of better questions. Albert Einstein changed physics not only because he knew more information. His advantage was the ability to ask deeper questions. He questioned assumptions about time, space, energy, reality. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs do not come from having more answers. They come from asking better questions. The 5 levels of problem solving. Level 1. Seeing the problem. Many people fail because they never notice problems. They accept things as normal. Level 2. Understanding the cause. Average thinkers treat symptoms. Exceptional thinkers search for root causes. They ask, what created this situation? Level 3. Creating solutions. Knowledge becomes valuable when it produces improvement. Ideas must eventually become action. Level 4. Improving solutions. Great problem solvers understand that the first solution is rarely perfect. They test, they learn, they refine. Level 5. Creating systems. The highest level is building systems that continue solving problems. Instead of solving one problem once, you create something that solves similar problems repeatedly. Why leaders are problem solvers. Leadership is not simply authority. Leadership is responsibility. A leader must solve uncertainty, conflict, limited resources, difficult decisions, future challenges. People naturally trust those who create clarity during confusion. The person who brings solutions during difficult moments becomes valuable. The difference between complaining and creating. Many people are good at identifying problems. They complain about companies, governments, communities, other people. But identifying a problem is only the beginning. Value comes from moving from, there is a problem, to here is what we can do about it. The problem solver mindset. A replaceable person says, that is not my responsibility. A valuable person asks, how can I contribute? A replaceable person says, someone should fix this. A valuable person says, what role can I play in fixing it? A replaceable person sees obstacles. A valuable person searches for possibilities. How to develop problem-solving abilities. Study systems. Do not only learn procedures. Understand why things work. Understand why things fail. Learn across fields. Many breakthroughs happen when different areas connect. Engineering can learn from biology. Business can learn from psychology. Technology can learn from human behavior. Build and experiment. Ideas become valuable when tested in reality. Action reveals what theory cannot. Choose difficult problems. Easy problems attract many people. Difficult problems create opportunities for those willing to face them. The problem solver formula. Irreplaceable value equals understanding problems, creating solutions, improving systems, delivering results. The world does not remember people because they had opinions. It remembers people because they created solutions. A person who only consumes what others create remains dependent. A person who creates solutions becomes valuable. A person who solves important problems becomes difficult to replace. The final lesson is simple. Your value increases when your ability becomes an answer to someone else's challenge. Do not only ask, what can I achieve? Ask, what problem can I become exceptional at solving? Because the people who solve problems become the people the world depends on. Chapter 9. The Comfort Trap. How great people become replaceable. One of the greatest dangers in life is not failure. Failure can teach you. Failure can humble you. Failure can force you to change. The greater danger is something that often arrives after success. Comfort. Because comfort feels like victory. It feels like safety. It feels like proof that you have finally made it. But sometimes, the thing that protects you today becomes the thing that destroys you tomorrow. The success paradox. Most people become successful because they develop certain qualities. They learn, they adapt, they work hard, they take risks, they solve problems, they challenge themselves. But after achieving success, something changes. They begin protecting what they have instead of creating what they could become. They stop experimenting. They stop questioning. They stop improving. Slowly, the qualities that created their success begin disappearing. This is the success paradox. The habits that create success are often abandoned after success arrives. A person becomes valuable because they are curious. Then, success convinces them they already know enough. A person becomes valuable because they take responsibility. Then success makes them blame others. A person becomes valuable because they adapt. Then success makes them resist change. The danger is not success itself. The danger is becoming attached to yesterday's version of yourself. The world never stops changing. The world rewards those who continue creating value. It does not reward people simply because they were valuable in the past. A skill that was powerful 10 years ago may become ordinary today. A business model that dominated yesterday may disappear tomorrow. A strategy that created success in one environment may fail in another. The question is not, how did I become successful? The deeper question is, what must I become next? Kodak, when success became a weakness. One of the most famous examples of this principle is Kodak. For decades, Kodak was one of the most powerful names in photography. It had a respected brand, advanced researchers, millions of customers, decades of experience. But the world was changing. Digital photography was transforming how people captured and shared images. Interestingly, Kodak had knowledge of digital technology, but the company struggled to fully embrace a future that threatened its existing business model. The lesson is not that Kodak lacked intelligence. The lesson is that success can create attachment. Sometimes the thing that made you successful prevents you from adapting to what comes next. Nokia, the danger of protecting the past. Another example is Nokia. At one time, Nokia was one of the most dominant mobile phone companies in the world. It had strong engineering, a powerful brand, millions of loyal customers. But the rules of the industry changed. The future was no longer only about making reliable phones. It became about software applications, user experience, digital ecosystems. The lesson: being excellent at yesterday's game does not guarantee success in tomorrow's game. Blockbuster. Ignoring a changing world, Blockbuster dominated the video rental industry. People knew the brand. Customers visited its stores. Business model was successful, but entertainment was changing. Streaming technology created a new way for people to consume content. The future did not destroy Blockbuster because it was weak. It defeated Blockbuster because the world changed faster than the company adapted. The personal comfort trap. This principle applies not only to companies, it applies to individuals. A person may say, "I have 20 years of experience." But the important question is, did I improve for 20 years? Or did I repeat the same year 20 times? Time alone does not create mastery. Growth creates mastery. Experience without learning can become repetition. The danger of becoming comfortable. Comfort slowly changes behavior. A comfortable person begins avoiding new ideas, honest feedback, uncertainty, risk. They start saying, "This is how we have always done it. This is not necessary. There is no need to change." But the world does not reward tradition alone. It rewards effectiveness. The ego barrier. Another enemy of growth is ego. Success can create a dangerous belief. I have already proven myself. I no longer need advice. I cannot be wrong. But every field changes. Every generation brings new ideas. Every environment creates new challenges. The person who believes they know everything creates their own limitation. The Peter Principle. Management thinker Lawrence J. Peter introduced the idea known as the Peter Principle. The idea suggests that people and organizations may rise until they reach a position where their current abilities are no longer enough. For example, a person may be an excellent engineer, but becoming a leader requires additional abilities: communication, decision-making, emotional intelligence, managing people, strategic thinking. Past success does not automatically prepare someone for future responsibilities. Growth must continue. Nassim Taleb. Becoming stronger through change. Writer and thinker Nassim Nicholas Taleb introduced the idea of anti-fragility. An anti-fragile person does not simply survive uncertainty. They become stronger because of it. They use failure as feedback, challenges as training, change as opportunity. The goal is not to create a life where nothing changes. That is impossible. The goal is to become someone who can grow through change. The adaptability advantage. The most valuable people are not those who know everything. Nobody knows everything. The most valuable people are those who can learn what they need when circumstances change. They ask, what skill is becoming important? What should I understand next? What new problem needs solving? Adaptability protects your value. The renewal cycle. An irreplaceable person follows a continuous cycle. Learn, apply, evaluate, improve, repeat. They never ask, "Have I made it?" They ask, "How can I become better?" The final test. Ask yourself, if your world changed tomorrow, would your skills still matter? Could you adapt? Could you learn something new? Could you create value in a different environment? Would people still trust your contribution? These questions reveal whether you are depending on the past or preparing for the future. The comfort formula. Comfort without growth equals decline. Challenge plus adaptation equals strength. The person who stops learning eventually becomes replaceable. The person who keeps evolving remains valuable. The final lesson is this: do not protect the person you used to be. Continue building the person you need to become. Because the world does not need yesterday's success, it needs tomorrow's solutions. The art of becoming irreplaceable is not preserving your old value. It is continuously creating new value. Chapter 10. The human side of irreplaceability. Beyond money. When people hear the word value, they often think about money. They think about income, wealth, professional success, business achievements, status, recognition. These things matter. They provide security. They create opportunities. They allow people to build and contribute. But there is a deeper form of value that cannot be measured by a bank account. A form of value that exists in the lives of people you influence. Because the greatest contribution a person can make is not always what they produce. Sometimes it is who they help others become. The mistake of measuring everything through money. Modern society has created a habit of measuring almost everything financially. We ask, how much does this person earn? What position do they hold? What assets do they own? How successful do they appear? But some of the most valuable people in history were not remembered because of their wealth. They were remembered because of their impact. A teacher who changes the direction of a student's life. A parent who builds character in a child. A mentor who gives someone confidence. A friend who remains loyal during difficult times. A leader who creates opportunities for others. These contributions may never appear on a financial statement, but their effects can last for generations. The highest form of value, making others better. The most valuable people do not only improve themselves, they improve the people around them. They create growth beyond their own existence. A great leader does not only achieve personal success, they develop other leaders. A great teacher does not only share information, they create independent thinkers. A great parent does not only provide resources, they build responsible human beings. This is the highest level of irreplaceability, not being needed because others cannot survive without you, but being remembered because others became stronger because of you. Useful versus meaningful. There is a difference between being useful and being meaningful. A machine can perform a task. Technology can replace certain activities. A system can automate certain processes. But human beings create something deeper. They create trust, encouragement, wisdom, connection, inspiration. These qualities shape human lives in ways that cannot easily be measured. The irreplaceable role of a father. One of the clearest examples of human value is the role of a father. A father's value is not only measured by financial provision. Provision matters, but the deeper contribution includes guidance, protection, discipline, emotional strength, teaching responsibility, providing an example. A child may forget many material things received, but they often remember who believed in them, who corrected them, who guided them, who showed them what strength and responsibility look like. The irreplaceable role of a teacher. A great teacher does more than deliver information. They awaken potential. They notice abilities that others overlook. They encourage people before success appears. Many successful individuals can identify someone who changed their path. A teacher who believed in them. A mentor who challenged them. A person who saw possibilities before they did. The influence of a great teacher multiplies because every student carries that influence forward. The power of true friendship. In a world where many relationships are based on convenience, genuine loyalty becomes rare. A valuable friend provides honesty when truth is uncomfortable, support during hardship, encouragement during growth, accountability during mistakes. True friendship is valuable because it requires character. It requires commitment. It requires caring about another person's growth, not only your own benefit. Nelson Mandela. Value beyond position. Nelson Mandela demonstrates how human value can exceed official power. Many people hold positions of authority. Many leaders are remembered only for their time in office. Mandela became a symbol because of what he represented: courage, forgiveness, reconciliation, human dignity. His influence came not only from what he achieved, it came from the meaning attached to his actions. Viktor Frankl. The purpose of contribution. Viktor Frankl explored the importance of meaning in human life. His work showed that people become stronger when they have a purpose beyond themselves. A meaningful life is not only about asking, what can I gain? It is also asking, what can I contribute? Purpose transforms success. Without purpose, achievement can become empty. With purpose, achievement becomes service. The danger of self-centered success. A person can become wealthy. A person can become famous. A person can gain influence and still leave little lasting value. Why? Because success that benefits only yourself has limited reach. The greatest people understand a deeper principle. Success is not only something you receive, it is something you use. Your knowledge can educate others. Your experience can guide others. Your resources can create opportunities. Your influence can strengthen communities. The multiplication principle. The highest form of value is multiplication. A person who solves one problem creates value. A person who teaches others to solve problems multiplies value. A person who creates systems that continue solving problems creates legacy. This is why great people remain influential after they are gone. Their contribution continues through others. The human value formula. True irreplaceability equals Personal excellence, service to others, positive influence, lasting contribution. The question is not only, what can I do? The deeper question is, who becomes better because I exist? Because your greatest achievement may not be something you own. It may be someone you helped, someone you inspired, someone you guided, someone whose life changed because your paths crossed. Final lesson. The ultimate goal is not becoming irreplaceable because people cannot function without you. That creates dependence. The highest goal is becoming irreplaceable because your presence improves the lives around you. The world does not only need people who achieve, it needs people who contribute. It needs people who build. It needs people who strengthen others. Because at the end of life, people rarely remember only what you accumulated. They remember what you gave, what you taught, what you changed, what became possible because you were there. The greatest measure of a person's value is not only what they built for themselves, it is what became possible for others because they existed. Chapter 11. Purpose. From success to legacy, there comes a moment in every person's journey when a deeper question appears. A question that success alone cannot answer. At the beginning of life, many people chase achievement. They want more money, more recognition, more influence, more respect, more security. These desires are natural. They push people to improve. They encourage ambition. They motivate growth. But eventually, a person reaches a point where they ask something deeper. After everything I achieve, what will remain? This is the question that separates success from legacy. Success is what you gain. Legacy is what you leave. Success is personal. It focuses on what you accomplish, what you earn, what you achieve, what you possess. Legacy is different. It focuses on what you contribute, who you help, what you create, what continues after you. A person can become successful and still disappear from memory. But a person who creates meaningful value can influence generations. The limits of achievement. Many people believe fulfillment exists on the other side of achievement. They think, when I get that position, I will finally be satisfied. When I earn that amount, I will finally feel successful. When people recognize me, I will finally feel important. But achievement alone cannot answer the deepest human questions. Because human beings do not only need success, they need meaning. Viktor Frankl. The Power of Meaning. Psychiatrist and author Viktor Frankl explored one of humanity's deepest needs, the need for meaning. His work showed that people can endure extraordinary difficulties when they have a reason to continue. A person with purpose can survive challenges that would break someone without direction. Purpose gives strength. It transforms suffering into sacrifice. It transforms effort into a mission. It transforms ordinary work into something meaningful. Purpose gives direction to ability. Talent without purpose can become wasted potential. A person may possess intelligence, creativity, knowledge, opportunity, but without direction, these abilities may never create lasting impact. Purpose answers a powerful question. What should I use my abilities for? A skilled engineer can simply design structures, or they can dedicate themselves to creating safer communities. A talented entrepreneur can simply make money, or they can solve problems that improve people's lives. A knowledgeable teacher can simply deliver lessons, or they can shape future generations. Purpose transforms ability into contribution. The difference between success and significance. A successful person asks, how far can I go? A significant person asks, how many people can benefit because I went there? Success is about reaching a destination. Significance is about leaving a path others can follow. The greatest people are not remembered only because they achieved. They are remembered because their achievements created opportunities for others. Leonardo da Vinci. Curiosity beyond recognition. Leonardo da Vinci represents a person driven by a desire to understand. His purpose was not only recognition, it was discovery. He wanted to understand nature, the human body, movement, creation, the relationship between ideas. His curiosity produced work that continues to inspire people centuries later. His contribution survived because it was connected to something larger than personal success. Nelson Mandela. Purpose beyond personal pain. Nelson Mandela demonstrates another dimension of purpose. Many people experience suffering, but purpose determines how suffering transforms a person. Mandela spent many years imprisoned, but he refused to allow his circumstances to define the meaning of his life. He remained connected to a larger vision, a vision of dignity, equality, reconciliation, hope. His legacy was not built only on what happened to him. It was built on how he responded. Carl Jung, Becoming Your True Self Psychologist. Carl Jung explored the process of becoming one's complete self. He argued that many people live according to external expectations. They chase approval, they imitate others, they suppress parts of themselves. But true development requires discovering who you are and what you are capable of becoming. Purpose requires self-understanding. Ask yourself, what am I naturally drawn toward? What problems do I care about? What abilities do I want to develop? What contribution do I want my life to represent? The 4 levels of human existence. Level 1. Consumption. The person asks, what can I get? Their focus is receiving. Level 2. Achievement. The person asks, what can I accomplish? They build personal success. Level 3. Contribution. The person asks, what can I create? They begin serving something beyond themselves. Level 4. Legacy. The person asks, what continues after me? They build something that survives their presence. Why purpose creates resilience. A person without purpose depends heavily on external rewards. When recognition disappears, motivation disappears. When difficulties appear, they lose direction. A person with purpose has a deeper foundation. They continue because the mission matters. This is why people with strong purpose can endure failure, criticism, rejection, uncertainty, hardship. They are not only chasing results, they are serving something meaningful. The legacy question. Every person eventually faces this question. When your name is mentioned years from now, what should remain? Will people remember what you owned, how impressive you appeared, how much attention you received? Or will they remember what you built, who you helped, what problems you solved, what became better because you existed? The purpose formula. Lasting irreplaceability equals mastery, character, service, meaning, contribution. The highest level of becoming irreplaceable is not becoming famous. Fame belongs to the moment. Legacy belongs to time. The greatest people are not remembered because they demanded importance. They are remembered because they dedicated themselves to something important. The final lesson is this. A successful life asks, what did I achieve? A meaningful life asks, what did my achievement make possible? Because true greatness is not measured only by how high you rise. It is measured by how many people rise because you did. Chapter 12. The Blueprint. Building yourself into someone valuable. Understanding the principles of value is not enough. Knowing that mastery matters. Knowing that reputation matters. Knowing that purpose matters. Knowing that contribution matters. These ideas are powerful, but knowledge without action changes nothing. The final question is, how does an ordinary person actually become someone valuable? How does a person move from potential to ability, from ability to contribution, from contribution to legacy? The answer is through deliberate construction. You must build yourself. The first step, stop chasing recognition before creating value. One of the biggest mistakes people make is wanting the reward before building the foundation. They want respect before mastery. Influence before contribution, success before preparation, recognition before results. But greatness follows a different order. First, build yourself, then create value, then earn trust. Then, recognition follows. The world does not reward what people believe they deserve. It rewards what they have developed. Step 1. Discover your unique advantage. Every person has a unique combination of experiences, interests, strengths, weaknesses, personality, perspective, challenges. Your advantage is hidden inside this combination. The goal is not to become a copy of another person. The goal is to discover what makes your contribution different. Ask yourself, what problems do people naturally trust me to solve? What subjects can I study for years without losing curiosity? What abilities can I combine to become unusual? What experiences have shaped how I see the world? Your uniqueness is not something you invent. It is something you discover and develop. Step 2. Master a valuable skill. Becoming irreplaceable requires competence. You must become excellent at something that creates meaningful results. Choose an area where mastery matters. It could be engineering, technology, medicine, research, business, leadership, communication, education, creativity. Then go deeper than most people are willing to go. Most people stop when they become comfortable. Masters continue when the work becomes difficult. Because valuable skills are not built through occasional effort. They are built through years of focused improvement. Step 3. Build your skill stack. One skill makes you useful. A combination of skills makes you rare. Develop a core ability, your main area of expertise, the foundation of your value. Communication, because knowledge that cannot be explained has limited influence. Technology, because modern tools multiply human ability. Psychology, because understanding people improves leadership and relationships. Business thinking, because value must connect with real-world needs. The goal is not to know everything. The goal is to create a combination that few people possess. Step 4. Become a problem solver. Your value increases when your ability becomes an answer to a problem. Do not only ask, what is my role? Ask, what problems can I solve? Train yourself to notice inefficiencies, weak systems, unmet needs, opportunities for improvement. The person who solves problems becomes valuable in almost any environment. Step 5. Build a reputation of excellence. Your reputation is your invisible resume. Before people meet you, your past actions often introduce you. Become known as someone who keeps promises, produces quality work, accepts responsibility, learns continuously, treats people with respect. A strong reputation creates opportunities before you even ask. Step 6. Master yourself. The greatest challenge is often not external, it is internal. A person must learn to control their emotions, their habits, their impulses, their ego, their distractions. The ancient Stoics understood a powerful truth. A person who cannot govern themselves will struggle to influence anything else. Self-mastery is the foundation of lasting success. Step 7. Develop the ability to adapt. The world will continue changing. Technology will evolve. Industries will transform. Old methods will disappear. The valuable person does not ask, how do I protect what I already know? They ask, what do I need to learn next? Adaptability protects your value. A person who can learn, adjust, and improve remains useful in changing environments. Step 8. Create systems, not just results. A person who completes tasks creates value. A person who creates systems multiplies value. The highest level of contribution comes from building things that continue working. Businesses, organizations, methods, knowledge, teams, ideas. Great people do not only perform, they create structures that allow others to perform. Step 9. Connect success with purpose. The final transformation happens when your abilities serve something greater than yourself. Ask, what problem am I willing to spend years solving? Who benefits from my work? What do I want my name to represent? Purpose gives direction. Purpose creates endurance. Purpose helps you continue when motivation disappears. The irreplaceability roadmap. The journey happens in stages. Stage 1, foundation build, discipline, knowledge, healthy habits, self-control. Stage 2, mastery develop, expertise, experience, confidence, practical ability. Stage 3, differentiation create original thinking, rare value. Stage 4, influence build, trust relationships, reputation, leadership. Stage 5, legacy create systems, people, ideas, contributions that continue beyond you. The daily code of an irreplaceable person. Every day, learn something. Because knowledge creates possibility. Practice something. Because skill requires development. Create something. Because value comes from contribution. Improve something. Because growth requires correction. Help someone. Because true value expands beyond yourself. The final transformation. The journey moves through 4 stages. At first, I want the world to recognize me. Then, I will develop myself. Then, I will create value. Finally, my contribution will continue beyond me. This is the transformation from seeking importance to becoming significant. Final lesson. Becoming irreplaceable is not about becoming someone nobody can replace, because every role eventually changes, every generation passes, every person eventually leaves. The deeper goal is this: become someone whose presence improves the world around them, develop rare skills, build strong character, solve meaningful problems, create valuable relationships, leave something behind. Do not spend your life asking, why does nobody see my worth? Spend your life building so much value that the question disappears. Because the ultimate measure of a person is not how much attention they received, it is how much value they created. It is not whether people depended on them. It is whether people became better because of them. This is the blueprint. This is the path. This is the art of becoming irreplaceable. Epilogue. The person who made the world better. At the beginning of this journey, we asked a question: what makes one person truly valuable? Is it wealth? Is it fame? Is it power? Is it recognition? Or is it something deeper? Throughout history, many people have achieved great things. Some built enormous companies. Some commanded nations. Some collected fortunes. Some became famous around the world. But time has a way of revealing the difference between achievement and significance. Because everything external is temporary. Positions change. Titles disappear. Fame fades. Possessions are eventually left behind. What remains is contribution. What remains is influence. What remains is the difference a person made in the lives of others. Every position has an ending. Every person eventually leaves every position they hold. A job can be given to another person. A company can continue after its founder. A team can continue after its greatest player retires. A nation can continue after its greatest leader is gone. This is not a reason for fear. It is a reminder. Your deepest value was never the position you occupied. Your deepest value was what you brought into that position. The question is not, can someone replace my role? The answer is always yes. The better question is, can someone duplicate my contribution? A person may replace your title, but can they replace the knowledge you shared, the people you developed, the systems you created, the problems you solved, the lives you improved? This is where true irreplaceability exists. The difference between being remembered and being valuable. Many people chase being remembered. They want their name attached to something. They want recognition. They want the world to know they mattered. But the greatest contributors usually focus on something else. They focus on doing meaningful work, solving important problems, helping others grow, building things that last. Recognition becomes a result, not the purpose. The legacy of builders, the people who transform the world, are builders. They build ideas, knowledge, systems, communities, people. Leonardo da Vinci built ideas that expanded human imagination. His influence continued because his curiosity created knowledge that survived him. Albert Einstein built understanding that changed how humanity viewed reality. His contribution was not only scientific equations, it was a new way of thinking. Nelson Mandela built a message of resilience and reconciliation. His influence came not only from what he achieved, it came from what he represented. The highest level of irreplaceability. The highest level of value is not making yourself impossible to replace. That is dependence, and dependence is fragile. The highest level is creating something that continues because you made others stronger. A great teacher creates teachers. A great leader creates leaders. A great parent creates responsible human beings. A great builder creates systems that survive beyond them. The greatest people multiply value. The final character test. When your achievements disappear, what remains? When nobody is watching, who are you? When there is no reward, do you still do what is right? When things become difficult, do you still create value? Because character is the foundation beneath everything else. Skills may create success, but character determines what that success becomes. The future belongs to those who continue becoming. The world is changing faster than ever. Technology will transform industries. New challenges will appear. Old methods will disappear. But some qualities will always remain valuable. The ability to learn, the ability to adapt, the ability to think, the ability to solve problems, the ability to understand people, the ability to create meaning. The future belongs to people who continue becoming. The final question: one day, every person will look back on their life. The question will not simply be, how much did I achieve? It will be, who became better because I existed? Did someone gain courage because of you? Did someone learn because of you? Did someone overcome difficulty because of you? Did someone discover their potential because you believed in them? Because every person leaves something behind. Some leave possessions. Some leave memories. Some leave achievements. But the greatest leave transformation. They leave people stronger. They leave ideas that continue. They leave systems that serve others. They leave the world slightly better than they found it. The final message: do not spend your life trying to prove that you matter. Build, learn, serve, improve, create. Develop skills that create value. Build character that earns trust. Solve problems that matter. Help others become stronger. Create something that continues beyond you. Because the ultimate achievement is not becoming impossible to replace. The ultimate achievement is becoming impossible to forget for the right reasons. A person's life is not measured only by what they collected. It is measured by what they contributed, not only by what they achieved. but by what their achievement made possible. The world does not need more people searching for importance. It needs more people committed to creating value. And that is the final lesson. Become the person whose presence leaves every place better than you found it. Become the person whose work speaks after your voice is silent. Become the person whose contribution continues after your journey ends. This is the art of becoming irreplaceable.